إلهي إن كان الندم على الذنب توبة.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. We seek the protection of God from Shaitan, who has been expelled and disqualified from God's kingdom of special grace and mercy. If we avoid the satanic habit of arrogance, whatever we know to be true and righteous by the God-given intellect, by the divine revelation, by the human conscience, we submit humbly. And if we avoid the satanic habit of defiance, whatever we know to be wrong and evil and false, by the guidance of the God-given intellect, the divine revelation, the human conscience, we don't defiantly commit. And if we take full strength from God through reliance, then definitely we will be empowered to be able to distinguish what is satanic and what is godly in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our motives, in our intentions. And we will get the strength to be able to obey the truth and disobey evil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We humbly seek grace and guidance and blessings from God because He is Allah, the all-perfect being. Nobody can achieve any goodness or perfection until and unless Allah wills it so. And we ask for His grace and guidance because He is Rahman. His Rahmah, His mercy, His love, His care, His attention reaches out to each and every entity, brings it to life, enables it to move towards its goal of creation. And we ask for His grace and guidance because He is Rahim. His extra love, continuous support, His reward, which is everlasting, eternal, diverse, profound, in fact, unimaginable, is available, but not for all. Only for those amongst us who make the right choices, who believe in the truth, and who submit to the truth, and who live a life of truth. Alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to God and God alone. I quote the praise for this week from a dua of Sahifa Sajjadiyya of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. Ilahi ahmaduka wa anta lil hamdi ahlun. Oh Allah, I praise you because you alone deserve to be praised. And then Imam alayhi salam mentions 5 reasons for that. وأنت للحمد أهل على حسن صنيعك إلي وسبوغ نعمائك علي وجزيل عطاياك عندي وعلى ما فضلتني به من رحمتك وأسبغت علي من نعمتك فقد اصطنعت عندي ما يعجز عنه شكري. O Lord, I thank you and I praise you alone because of all the benefaction and the love and the grace that you have shown me. The way you created me, the family, the circumstances, the environment, the blessings that you gave me. And not only did you grant me favors, but you lavished and showered it upon me in plentifulness. وَجَزِيلِ عَطَايَاكَ عِنْدِي. And it was out of your pure grace and mercy, not that I deserved it, but out of your love and compassion, and out of your generosity and magnanimity, you showered it upon me. And therefore, I find myself incapable to respond with adequate gratitude and thanks to all the bounties that you give me. I realize and I fully recognize, had it not been for all this grace that you give me, O Lord, I would not have been able to become a good person. In fact, you gave to me all the necessary faculties and abilities to be good and to do good and to like good and to want to do good. ولكنك ابتدأتني بالإحسان ورزقتني في أموري كلها الكفاية وصرفت عني جهد البلاء ومنعت مني محذور القضاء. There are many afflictions that you protected me from. There are many bounties and beautiful things that you granted me. My prayers you answered me, though I don't deserve. My sins you pardoned, though I was defiant. And the dhulm and the oppression or the aggression I may have suffered, you have avenged it from me also. And you constantly listen to my prayers, and you give me what I ask for whenever I am in trouble and whenever I am in affliction. فَأَنْتَ عِنْدِي مَحْمُودٍ. Therefore you are the absolute praised one. تَحْمَدُكَ نَفْسِي وَلِسَانِي وَعَقْلِي. And therefore I praise you not only by my tongue, but more important, I praise you with my mind. I accept and I recognize how you have created, what you have created, and what you're granting me also, not only me, but to everyone else related to me and unrelated to me. Not only does my tongue and my mind praise you, but most important, my heart and the core of my being also feels and realizes with its totality of strength your benefaction and therefore your praise. أوصيكم عباد الله ونفسي بتقوى الله. Community of believers, I wish to remind you and myself of the necessity of taqwa. This week, the message of taqwa would be historically the caravan of the captives from Karbala have been brought forcibly to Kufa, and from Kufa now they are on their way to Sham. A caravan of the members of the family of the Prophet through his last grandson, Imam Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imam Hussein alayhi salam's personality is not something which is unknown to the Muslim world. Throughout the Muslim world, wherever there is Salatul Jumu'ah, in the second khutbah, the khatib will praise Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan. Sayyiday Shababi Ahlul Jannah, Rayhanati Rasulillah. These are popular, unanimous narrations reported from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in all hadith collections. And therefore it behooves us to know what happened in the history of Islam, that the head of the beloved of the Prophet was now being paraded with the members of his family now being captured and treated like prisoners of war, though they are Muslims. They are from the best of the family of the Muslim world. The best answer to this is the khutbah which the Holy Lady Zainab bint Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah alayhim gave in Kufa, and of course later on in Sham. The reporter says, I was a witness to what happened, that نظرت إلى زينب, and I saw her يومئذ on that day, ولم أرى والله خفرة قط أنطق منها. I haven't seen a more eloquent speaker than what I heard on that day from her. And in fact, it reminded me about the eloquence of Amirul Mu'mineen. And then at one stage she made an indication to the masses who were watching the spectacle, and all of them went silent. And she started Alhamdulillah, and she praised the Prophet and his family. And then she condemned the people of Kufa of certain behaviors which are very important for us as Muslims to remind ourselves. أما بعد يا أهل الكوفة يا أهل الختل والغدر أتبكون فلا رقعت الدمع وَلَا هَدَأَتِ الرَّنَّةِ. O people of Kufa, you people are people of deception and treachery. You are traitors. You are a people of desertion and disloyalty. And you're very cunning. You are crying now that you see us in this pathetic state, the way we are being treated. Well, may your tears never stop flowing. May you cry always. Shame upon you. So what is the problem with the people of Kufa? The people of Kufa are being accused and condemned by the Holy Lady Zainab that they are traitors. Meaning that they promise something and then they turn their back on their promise. They made a commitment and a pledge and loyalty, and then they become renegades on that promise that they made. إِنَّمَا مَثَلُكُمْ, and then she gives 5 examples, that the example of you people are like 5 things. إِنَّمَا مَثَلُكُمْ كَمَثَلِ الَّتِي نَقَضَتْ غَزْلَهَا مِنْ بَعْدِ قُوَّةٍ أَنْكَاثًا تَتَّخِذُونَ أَيْمَانَكُمْ دَخَلًا بَيْنَكُمْ. The example of yours is like that woman in Jahiliyyah. She had a few slave girls working for her. She would take a yarn and then spin and design a cloth. Then half day she would unravel and open back to all the fragments of the threads and the yarn. Does something and then undoes it later on. That means effort wasted, time and energy wasted. You promise something and then you break it. You're as foolish and as stupid as that woman of Jahiliyyah, she was saying. أَلَا وَهَلْ فِيكُمْ إِلَّا الصَّلِفِ. You are like those clouds. They make a lot of noise, thunder. So you would expect rain, but there's no water. You came and you made promises to us, but you didn't deliver. There was no water from you. وَمَلْقُ الْإِمَاءِ. You are just like that deceptive slave girl who will come and praise and flatter her master or her mistress. But this is false, hypocritical, superficial praise. This is what you did to us. You elevated us and you promised us that, oh, we accept you as the members of the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet, and therefore we will listen to you and obey you. Come over. وَغَمْزُ الْأَعْدَاءِ. And you are just like that smile, the fake smile given by the enemy. So you want to shake hands and you thought you're friends. You appear to be friendly, but in your hearts you are our enemies. أَوْ كَمَرْعَى عَلَى دِمْنَةٍ. Or you are like a flower, a garden which is growing. Somebody looks at you, is impressed. But actually you are growing on a garbage dump. Your nutrition and your sources were evil and filthy. And we discovered you now. You are a stinking bunch of flowers. أَوْ كَفِضَّةٍ عَلَى مَلْحُودَةٍ. Oh no, you're just like a treasure of silver, for example, something that you would be attracted, possessions. But you are sitting above a grave which is stinking, which is putrefying, which is repulsive. The Holy Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha is condemning a particular problem in the human society, or no, a particular problem in the Muslim society, whereby we claim to be Muslims, we pretend to be followers of the truth, yet when the opportunity arises where a decision has to be made to commit ourselves to the truth and follow it, though there is suffering, versus keeping silent and therefore by silence serving and supporting and advancing evil, we choose to keep silence. This is the example that she is condemning here. And this is based on an ayah in the Quran in Surah Nahl, chapter 16, ayah number 90 onwards. Ayah number 91 says, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ. Ayah number 90 says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ يَعِظُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. Ayah 91 then says, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ. And make wafa, fulfill the promises and the pledges that you make to God and in God's name. human society is based on one fundamental foundation, and that is trust based on the promise and pledges that we make. We have obligations based on the contracts that we make in society. The whole business world depends on the contracts. There is a promise to deliver and a promise to pay. There is a trust between the two parties. It's this trust that makes the commercial world thrive. And this is not only in the business world, this sort of pledge and obligation and promise, it's there in all aspects of our lives, be it personal life, family life, the contract of marriage. Be it parental contract. The moment you seek a child and God gifts a child, that's a contract of responsibility to bring up that child according to godly values. Otherwise, why did you ask and seek for it? The obligations that we have towards each other in a community, the obligations that we have in a nation. No, civilization, the whole of humanity is based on this fundamental pillar of respect and commitment and fulfilling the pledges that we make. You remove this and you begin, even families will break, friendships will spoil, economies will go to disaster, businesses will fail, even the most powerful government will collapse. Yet if the pledges are fulfilled, then you have love and respect and trust which develops, and you can get success and prosperity. And therefore the Quran warns us, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ. Whatever promise that you make in God's name or promise that you make to God. The moment I say La ilaha illallah, I've made a promise that I will not worship anyone other than God. La ilaha, there is no power, entity worthy of worship, submission, obedience, respect, love, fear, hope, prayer, other than God. That's the promise I'm making. And I declare my faith in the Prophet, meaning that I've accepted him as my absolute role model with divine teachings. وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ إِذَا عَاهَدْتُمْ وَلَا تَنْقُضُوا الْأَيْمَانَ بَعْدَ تَوْكِيدِهَا. And after the contracts have been solemnized and finalized, don't break and don't violate those contracts. وَقَدْ جَعَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ عَلَيْكُمْ كَفِيلًا. Especially when you take in God as your kafil, as your guarantor, as your sponsor, as your supporter, as your watch, as your surety over the fulfillment of that promise. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمْ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. And God knows what you do, and therefore He will hold you accountable and answerable on the day of judgment. And this mutual sense of obligation is not only in personal family life, in organizations, in communities, in governments, in business, in school, wherever you go. This mutual obligation, as far as the Ummah and the Imam is concerned, is beautifully expressed by Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. In Nahj al-Balagha, in one khutbah, he says, أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ حَقًّا وَلَكُمْ عَلَيَّ حَقٌّ. I have certain rights over you as a leader and a ruler, Imam says. You as the Ummah, who have made bay'ah to me, also have certain rights over me. It's mutual. Not only I expect you to obey, in return also I have certain obligations towards you, he says. And let me start first with the obligations that I as a ruler have over you before I ask you to fulfill your obligations. فَأَمَّا حَقُّكُمْ عَلَيَّ فَالنَّصِيحَةُ لَكُمْ. My primary obligation is to have my best wishes for you. That means I should do my utmost to make sure that you are progressing and prospering. And not that I use the powers that you give me and the privileges to enrich myself and to impoverish you, to provide for myself and to deprive you. No, your prosperity is my priority. وَتَوْفِيرْ فَيْئِكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ, and socio-economic justice. وَتَعْلِيمُكُمْ كَيْ لَا تَجْهَلُوا, and your education. وَتَأْدِيبُكُمْ كَيْ مَا تَعْلَمُوا, and your cultural and spiritual training. That's my responsibility. I have to facilitate, I have to provide. As a leader, as a ruler. That's my duty, I'll be answerable to God. But you as the ummah also have certain obligations. And those are وَأَمَّا حَقِّي عَلَيْكُمْ فَالْوَفَاء بِالْبَيْعَةِ. Well, you came and did bay'ah. The majority of the Muslim ummah after the third Khalifa did bay'ah to Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. Fulfillment of that bay'ah is the primary requirement. Therefore, وَالنَّصِيحَةُ فِي الْمَشْهَدِ وَالْمَغِيبِ, and your duty is to have good intentions and sincerity towards me. If I make a mistake, don't come and praise me in front of me, and then behind my back you come and backbite, and you accuse and you condemn. Be honest, be sincere, bring up your concerns. There may be disagreements, there may be differences of opinion, there may be criticisms, doesn't matter. I'm open. Imam alayhi salam says, it is my right that you should be honest and sincere with me, Imam says. Number 3, وَالْإِجَابَةُ حِينَ أَدْعُوكُمْ, when I summon you and call you, you must respond. Don't give me excuses, don't be lazy, don't be distracted. Nothing is more important than your obligation to make sure that this society will be led by a divinely appointed leader, and therefore social progress depends on you expressing your loyalty and willingness to listen and to follow that leader. And ultimately, number 4, وَالطَّاعَةِ حِينَ آمُرَكُمْ, and then when I command you, once you come to listen to me, and I explain to you the problems, and I suggest to you solutions, then it is your obligation that you must follow those instructions that I give. And this is the problem with the people of Kufa. They promised, they pledged, they expressed loyalty and commitment to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Come over. The farm is ready for harvest. The river is flowing, or this metaphorical way to say everything is ready, come over. The army is ready to obey you, come over. And yet, when Imam comes over and he confronts Hur, and he tells Hur, but I've come here because the people of Kufa called me. Hur says, I don't know anything about what invitation you're talking about. So Imam alayhi salam calls for that sack which contains tens of thousands of letters that came from Kufa in the month of Ramadan onwards till his departure in Zil Hijjah to come towards Kufa. Hur says, I don't know anything about these letters. But the letters were there. And some of the writers of those letters, they came to Kufa. They came to Karbala on the side of Umar ibn Sa'id. So they knew who Imam Hussein alayhi salam was. There's nobody in the Muslim Ummah who doesn't know that he's the grandson, who doesn't know that he's Rayhana to Rasulullah, who doesn't know that he's Sayyid Shababi Ahlul Jannah. But that active commitment, that readiness to follow was missing. Why so? So in the Quran, one reason is mentioned, a broad reason, and we need to see how that applies to us today also. Ayah number 92, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّتِي نَقَضَتْ غَزْلَهَا مِنْ بَعْدِ قُوَّةٍ أَنْكَاثًا. And when you make a promise and a pledge, fulfill it. Do not be like that old foolish woman who would yarn and spin and then unspin and undo and unravel, wastage of all efforts. You build something and then you destroy. You construct and then you destruct. So you make a promise, live up to it. تَتَّخِذُونَ أَيْمَانَكُمْ دَخَلًا بَيْنَكُمْ. You take oath. Wallahi billahi tallah, in God's name. Or no, to God you make an oath. Or no, to each other in God's name you make an oath. And actually these are lies that you speak. You pretend you believe in God. You display a false appearance of believers, but you're using God's name to cheat. أن تكون, why so? أن تكون أمة هي أربى من أمة. And the reason you use this pledge, false pledge, which you want to break later on, is because for material reasons you want to support a group of people who is more rich, who is more powerful, or you are afraid of that power, or you seek their favors. And these are the two main reasons the people of Kufa abandoned Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They were either terrified, terrorized, afraid of the power of Ibn Ziyad, supported by Yazid, though they knew what they were doing was wrong. Or no, they were bribed. They accepted favors. They said, we'll get security in our family, we'll get riches, and therefore they abandoned Imam Hussein. And this is the exact reason mentioned in the Quran in Surah Nahl. When you are a minority and the majority is wrong and pressurizing you, and you have to make a decision between truth and evil, do not be swayed away by material reasons to abandon the truth. إِنَّمَا يَبْلُوكُمُ اللَّهُ بِهِ. Allah is testing you. To what extent do you believe in the power of the material world, and to what extent you believe in God's power? Who is the one who gives the riches, and who is the one who gives power, and who is the one who gives life, and who is the one who gives death other than Allah? Where is your belief? وَلَا يُبَيِّنَنَّ لَكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ مَا كُنْتُمْ فِيهِ تَخْتَلِفُونَ. And then on the day of judgment, the truth will be made manifest. What you did was wrong. Ayah number 93 is interesting. Why did not God put Iman in the hearts of the people of Kufa so that they become strong-hearted and they oppose Ibn Ziyad and support Imam Hussein and support Muslim bin Aqil? So the ayah says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَجَعَلَكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. Had it been the will of God, and had He wanted, He has the power, He would have made all of you one nation, one people, obedient, submissive, accepting the truth. They could have forced you, but then what's the use of this force? So you become robots. So you become like animals who are totally controlled. You have no choice to say no. And then He gives you Jannah for that. What use is this Jannah which has been given to us by force? We were forced to accept, we were forced to obey, and therefore we are forced to take the reward for it. No. The Quran says, وَلَكِنْ. That is not the plan of God. He can do it, but He doesn't do it because He has got a better plan. وَلَكِنْ يُضِلُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. He grants freedom, and as a response to that freedom, He then gives you a choice, and He shows you what is right and what is wrong, and He gives you the aql to judge what is right and wrong, and He gives you a heart which likes to do good and which is disgusted by evil, and then He watches, then He tests, then He provides opportunities to see how you respond. Yahdi, He guides those who accept the truth. Yudillu, misguides, abandons, shuns them. To those who actively, knowingly, willfully abandon and refuse to accept the truth. وَلَتُسْأَلُنَّ عَمَّا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Surely on the day of judgment you shall be asked and you shall be questioned why you made those choices. Ayah number 95. وَلَا تَشْتَرُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. Don't sell off your promises for a cheap payment. Allah knows the weakness, that we will be tempted to sell off our souls, our minds, our faith, our deen for the sake of a little dunya. And whatever is there in the dunya, even if you get everything in the dunya compared to akhirah is very little. وَمَا مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. That is the fundamental belief we need to strengthen in ourselves. إِنَّمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ هُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Ayah 96. مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدْ وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بَاقٍ. Whatsoever is with you, these little material possessions, they will go away. What remains is that which is with God, the time we give to God, the energy we spend for God, the feelings, our thought energy, our services, our work, our life. That portion that we give for God remains. that we use for ourselves will go away. There'll be nothing in akhirah for us for that. There was an animal who was sacrificed in the household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the meat then had to be distributed for sadaqah. So the Prophet came and chose certain portions of the animal, sacrificed animal, give away this meat for sadaqah. So one of the wives said, Ya Rasulullah, all of that gone! Only this thing is remaining. And the Prophet said, no. This thing is gone. All of that which we give is remaining with God. What we give remains. What we use ourselves goes away. And that's the fundamental problem of what led to Karbala. People were not yet ready to accept this fundamental reality. Let's pray to Allah for tawfiq. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wal Asr. Allah swears by time. This week is also important to remind ourselves about history. Innal insana lafi khusr. Man, so long as you don't realize the higher truth, you will be in a state of loss. Illa alladhina amanu, except when you accept the higher truth. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and commit yourself to act upon it. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, and then spread this truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, and collectively fight against evil. صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ.